Good evening, fellow traders. Getting started just a couple minutes early, 7:59 p.m. Central Time here. Make sure I got everything all set up, ready to rock and roll. Hope you had a great day today. It is Monday, June 5th. Just about 8 p.m. Central Time in the U.S. Hey, how's it going, Peter? Nice to see you. Just checking a few things around the markets. Now, you all know I post a few trade ideas a week. I try for 2, maybe 3, try to get 4 good ones. And today was just one of those days I thought, you know what? I think we're going to get a few of them right in a row. So I had 3 trade ideas posted today in a row. And I haven't, looked exactly, but I think they're all doing okay right now. Hope it's going okay. Hey, Big Dave. Hey, Julman. Jenny, how's it going? Nice to see you. U.S. stock markets. World indices closed slightly negative today in the U.S. Down 20 points on the Dow, down 10 on the NASDAQ, down about 3 on the S&P 500. Not a really bad day, but just slightly worse. We have the big RBA rate statement announcement coming up at 11:30 tonight Central Time. So, we're putting that off 3.5 hours from now. ISM numbers out of the U.S. earlier today came out a little worse than expected. And the services PMI out of Great Britain came out a little bit worse than expected. So getting right on in to the news at hand, let's take a look at some of the markets. We have, of course, commodity prices coming out of New Zealand here. Let's take a look if that's released yet. Yeah, better than expected, 3.2. Average cash earnings, 7 p.m. out of Japan were 0.5. So let's take a peek and see what we have. First of all, one trade idea. This one I didn't post. I posted 3 of them, so I figured that was enough. It's the same idea. Selling dollar yen. I'm currently short from 110.37. My stops are way up. I'm going to pull them down right now. Then I'll throw a couple markers on just so you can get a better idea of where things are at here. I had the worst migraine today. I get a few a year, maybe, just sort of random. And it was pretty warm yesterday here, and I was out mowing the lawn, and I think I got a little bit of almost heat stroke or something like that. So I was feeling really under the weather all night last night and today, and still a little off. So if I'm not my normal chipper self, that's why. A couple of us were looking at this gap here on the dollar yen. It might be sort of hard to see on my chart, but this was put in back on April 21st. And we're trying to see if this gap is going to fill. So, yeah, it's just a little bit outside my video here. Let me insert this here. So don't forget about this little gap area. This isn't going to be perfect, but right in this area down here. That's sort of going to be my rough target, is to get this gap closed up. So that target on the dollar yen will be around 109.36. That's a long ways away. We're looking at a 4-hour chart here. So if we can get the dollar yen to pull down a little bit more, say we pull down another 30, 40 pips, which would be awesome. Pull the stop down to above these swings here on the 15-minute. I'm not one, if you're new, because I know we've had a lot of new signups here in Forex Signals in the last couple of weeks. If you're new here, I'm not one to get all into break even, +1 and all that stuff. I just put it where I think the price action is going to be. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. So dollar yen's doing pretty well so far. This one's up about 18, 19 pips. This is another trade idea that I had put out just a little bit ago. Euro yen short. This one's up about 25 pips. I think I might pull the stop down just a little ways. It's a little bit far. You can move yours wherever you like. My stop on Euro yen right now is around 124.71. Entry was over here, but I'll put it back on this area so you can see it. 124.32 or so. And the target is down here around 125.51. I was working in the yard a lot. My hands are really twitchy. It makes it hard to get this mouse just right on the price. So we're about 25 pips in to a 80 pip or so target. So not a bad move. Pulled the stops down a little bit. Still a 40 pip stop. We can even pull them down a little further. It's all about conserving capital. So obviously common sense, right? Forex 101, any kind of trading. You pull your stops down to save a few bucks. You have a more likelihood chance of getting them hit I sort of like where we are right now on the euro yen. Wouldn't be too surprised to see a bounce come off of this big figure, 124. That's what's sort of happening here. If we cut it down to the 5-minute, you can see. I think if you're not short on euro yen, a good time to take a short would be about 124.18 when we come back into this area of resistance to the upside. So I'm just going to quickly go through these trade ideas, and then we'll talk about setups and what I think is going to happen in the week ahead, that kind of thing. Euro pound did really well on this pair again last week. I mean, man, really nice profits here on the euro pound. Over and over and over again. Very nice. I'm just pulling a few of them up here. I think there was another one somewhere. Maybe it was a little while back. But if I blow this chart up, you can see we took a profit trade here on the euro pound for around 16 pips. And then we had this profit trade all the way up for about 50 pips. And now I'm reversing and selling due to the change, at least in my opinion. Now, this is all fundamental stuff, so sometimes people have different opinions, but the change of vibe, you know how the vibe was negative about Theresa May and, you know, the Great Britain elections that are coming up on Thursday, and now the vibe is sort of changed. Now it's looking like they're a little more likely to win. The odds are turning in their favor more. So I think we're going to see some strength come back into the Great British Pound. So I'm looking to short the euro pound here. And again, this is just one of the trade ideas that's up there if you want to look at the levels a little more precisely. I don't expect this trade to move a real lot here in the super short term. And again, I don't advise holding a trade, especially any pair with the Great British Pound during the election results or even up to. I mean, I intend this pound dollar long and euro pound short trade to be shorter term trades. What I'd like to see is this price action, hopefully on the euro pound, pull down to these swing lows. That would pull us down about 25 pips. Expect to see a little bit of bounce of some kind, possibly. And then push down to the 23.6 fib right in this level. This 23.6 Fibonacci retracement right here, if we zoom out to the 4-hour, you can see this swing low that was put in on May 10th, all the way up to the top, about 380 pips or so. That would put us right in this area. In my opinion, if we get down there before Thursday, it's a great time to really pull these stops down and control the risk, because I'm not going to be in this trade during the election results or even hours leading up to it. So maybe we'll get 10 pips on this trade. Maybe we'll lose 15, 20. You know, it's going to be a sort of a dicey one, but expect the volatility to heat up more and more and more as we get closer to the election results on Thursday. Just looking at my economic calendar, the election results are going to come in throughout the day, and you'll see, I think Andrew was talking about this on Friday when we were doing our joint stream, but the polls are pretty accurate there as far as what I've learned from listening to him. We also have, of course, the big ECB press conference on Thursday morning as well. So this is not going to be a trade to be in during the day on Thursday. Definitely going to be out by then. So we'll see if it takes place. I still have my target down even a little bit further. My plan, if it does work out well, is to have the euro pound hopefully move down, get down to the 23.6, pull my stops way down in here, lock in a little profit, and hopefully squeak out these profit targets before. So it's a little aggressive. Euro pound, we'll have to see how it all plays out. This is the last trade idea that I had posted here, pound dollar long. I'll zoom it in for you here on the 15-minute. Shift it over just a little bit, shrink it down here. So we have an entry coming in. I'll just put it way back in this area so you can see the price, 129.08. And we have our profits way up here, 29.66 or so. And the stops are down here. Get my twitchy finger here to get right about there, 28.74. So currently pound dollar long's up about 10 points. I think we're going to see this profit target hit. Obviously, that's why I posted the idea, but make sure you trade your own trade. I think it's looking pretty good, though. We'll have to just see if, it's all about getting closer up to the election results and what all the jawboning of the pundits and the analysts are going to be saying. If there's a little bit of negative news or polling results that come back early, this trade, we might have to bail out early. So even though I don't always recommend moving stops and profits on a trade, sometimes I'll pyramid in and I'll post this in the room or on the trade idea itself for updates. This might be a good trade if we can get, halfway, so we get up to these swing highs here. Probably wouldn't be the worst idea to pull the stops up a little bit. Maybe even lock in a little bit of profit, because there's going to be some volatility. I think we all know that. Probably the most volatility we've seen in the pound for a while. So I was a little leery to post a pound trade, but, it is what it is. Trade the charts. We got a couple days to go. You can't sit on your hands all the time and just wait. Let's take a look. Musco, come on. I got your private message. You got it. So I did a nice interview with Muskokaman, first place finisher for May. It's not posted yet. Dominic's editing it, I believe. And I'm going to be interviewing the third place finisher tomorrow morning. And then I think the second place one, hopefully later today. Let's take a look. I don't look at the chat a whole lot right in the beginning. Sorry about that. IRA, hey, Jason. I don't know what's big announcement. Okay. You don't pay the direct, you don't pay the attention, restatement, future indicators. Hey, Fiona, that's no good. I get migraines for you. Hope you feel better. Yeah. I know today, man, I was really rough today. And I think it had something to do with the heat. Stay away from the roundup. Yeah. Thanks, Dave. LMG, Jason, should I set my TP at 124 for Euro Yen? Let's take a look. If you set it for 124, you're already out, so you're doing really well. 124 is just a psychological level. I don't think it's any level that's going to cause much of a hiccup here. We're moving nicely down. You're with profit. Should I close? Anyone here think I should close? I don't think so. If anything, if I would just pull your stops down a little bit. I'm going to pull mine down just a little bit closer now. As you can see here, I'm just going to pull them down a little bit. We don't want to get too tight. We want to have that organic breadth of the market here. My stops are at 124.57. Currently up 35 pips. It's up to you. I can't speak for Andrew or Tony or any of the other traders in the room, but for myself, when I post the trade ideas, as you can see, I'm trying to grade them 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 10 out of 10, whatever, to give you a confidence factor of how I feel about them. Because it's so hard to verbalize a trade idea on a posted image or in text, so to speak, in print. So it's just a trade idea. It gives you something to look at. It doesn't mean you have to take the trade. And if you do take the trade and you're comfortable with 15, 20 pips, just take it. You don't have to have everything just the way that I do it. It's just an idea. This one happened to go really, really nicely. I mean, if we boil it down 15 minutes, I don't think we even had 10 pips of against us. So if you want to take the profit at this time, you'd be happy with that. The first 2 4 yen. Shall I place the trade for pound dollar? Yeah, LMG. I think the biggest thing that I've seen posted here so far is you said waiting is killing me. So if the waiting is killing you, then you just got to work on the psychology. You have to be able to let this thing swing up and swing down and swing up and swing down. If you're stressed about it, my recommendation is to get out and then to cut down your lot size or your risk on your trade account to a small enough size that the waiting doesn't kill you, that it doesn't stress you out. I'm one of those guys, I like to talk a lot about psychology. I have a bunch of college degrees. I studied this stuff for a long time. Been seeing patients for 18 years in my exam room, and I talk to a lot of people. And the psychology is really, really important. If you're stressed out in a trade, my first reaction is just to tell you to get out. Or you can even close. I don't know if you know this with MetaTrader, but you can close out half your order, whatever it takes. Let's see. Hey, how's it going, Nick? You got it. Pushing through. Greed is good, I think. Yeah, right. Earbus is bringing sexy back to the Top Trader June contest. You got it. Yeah, Big Dave, you hit it right on the head. Trade ideas aren't supposed to be fire and forget. You still got to manage your account. Add a grade on your posted trade for us, 2-part. I think I did. I think I did put the grade on. Yeah, I'm an optometrist, not a psychologist, but I have a degree in psychology. I have a degree in biology and chemistry and a minor in psychology and a doctorate. Cool. Anyway, but I've been trading for over 10 years. It's been a passion of mine for a long time. Paid a lot of bills with my trading. So we're seeing the euro catch a little bit of a bid here. And don't forget, on this euro pound trade, you know, we're moving up a little bit now. We were just let me boil it down to 5 minute here. We were sitting flat, maybe 2 pips profit. Now we're down 2.5, 3 pips. Don't forget the trend is going up here, folks. You know, it's going up. So take your own trade. You don't have to trade it if you don't want to. Daily time frame. I know this is a little bit jammed up looking on my chart, but we are very toppy looking here in the euro pound. Doesn't mean it's due to retrace, because it's not. I'm trading this technically and fundamentally at the same time. I'm not afraid to be buying it here. I've been buying it in the past, doing really well. But for this one, I'm shorting it. I think the sell has more reward than the upside does. So those are my trade ideas in a nutshell. Just to boil it down real quickly for you, and then we'll look at the next steps. I have the short on the dollar yen, the short on the euro yen, the sell or short on the euro pound, and then the buy or long position on the pound dollar. And that's quite a few trades for myself. Silver, you know, we just hammered the heck out of silver earlier in the year, a few months ago here, back in May, earlier in the year, right? A few weeks back. Everything runs together when you're doing a 24-hour market. Silver's looking a little toppy, and if I really pull it in here, it's a little hard to see right there, but this wick has come right up near the 61.8 fib retracement. Does that mean I think silver is going to roll over? No, it does not. But if you feel like silver is a little bit toppy for you and you want to be a little aggressive and try to do a little counter trend trade, a reversal trade on silver would not have to be that big of a risk right now. A couple other things to look at on silver is this. I know I flick around a lot here, but this little wick right here, I'll just highlight it for you. This is a daily time frame. This little wick right here coincides with this black line right here, which is just above the 61.8 fib. So we not only have the 61.8 fib retracement on silver as possible resistance to the upside, we also have the all-important level, if I boil it down to the 4-hour, we have the all-important level of 1774 coming up on silver as well. So this is resistance 1. This is resistance 2. Stops could be up above here. Looking for a short. Obviously, the trend is turned to the upside. Not on the longer term time frame, but on the shorter term. But I'm just not a big fan of selling silver. You all know that. I'm a silver bug. I'm not a big fan of selling silver. Let's take a look at gold. It's nice when they go hand in hand, but they don't a lot. Gold also has this wick up sitting at 1283. I know there's a lot of people in this room that trade gold. We're only a couple bucks, not even away from the swing highs here on gold. You know, same basic idea for gold. Trends going up here, but little toppy, you know, not the worst risk to reward to be taking a short. I'm just not as confident in it. And what I've been telling traders that have been watching my strategies, and again, I'm a humble guy, but I'm doing a stream here with my own opinion, so that's what it is. I've been telling people for a long time, if you really want to know how I feel, just look at what trades I'm in. And I'm not confident enough to be selling gold or silver at these levels, because obviously we had all the news announcements that had come out. Non-farm payroll shot this thing through the moon. So I'm not at a position to do it, but it just bringing it up to your attention. There may be a little divergence in here as well, if you're looking for a little extra confidence. But Not enough for me to be, yeah, there's a little bit of divergence, but not quite yet. Sorry, guys, my dogs are going to be barking here for a minute. But what else do we have for you? Euro Aussie, my favorite pair to trade. You know, I was eyeing up a possible long on the Euro Aussie for a bunch of reasons. Bear with me as I toggle through these charts. But we had the psychological level of 1.5000. We had the touch over in this area here. There we go. And the near touch of the 1.50 here. So, you know, I like it to the upside, but I like the short on the euro pound a little bit more. And I just don't like to take the reverse on these crosses. Euro pound and euro Aussie are two of my favorite pairs that paid me the most over the years. And I just don't like to take them in opposite field. So I do like euro Aussie to the upside here, but I'm not convinced enough to be in on my own. Yeah, you got it, LMG. Thank you. LMG, I thought you were home-based. Yeah, that's funny. What do you think about the loonie? Let's take a little peek here. Where is it on my chart? Let me shrink this back. So I like the Euro Aussie to the upside, just to put that out there. But again, to zoom out to the weekly time frame, you know, we pushed up a lot. We've had retracements, but I'm not quite convinced enough to be buying it at this level. I would not be a seller of the Euro Aussie right now, although it could collapse and come back down. But I'm more motivated to be buying the Euro Aussie right now. Take a look at the dollar CAD, shall we? New Zealand dollar as well has been really in an uptrend. Not to jump around too much, but we've been talking about this. I know Andrew brought it up on Friday as well. The New Zealand dollar is sort of, for a lot of traders like myself, I don't trade the New Zealand crosses very much, or the Swiss crosses, but the New Zealand dollar has really been flying under the radar here, been very strong. However, if you look, we have 10 or 11 4-hour candles where we really consolidated in a tight range, 25 to 30 pips. The daily, we had the big bar, of course. We had some news there. And here we sit. So New Zealand dollar, really very mixed on this. We're starting to sort of put a little rising wedge in. A rising wedge by nature is a bullish pattern. We also had the area here that was once resistance became support, and we moved above that. So you have to be bullish on the New Zealand dollar, just looking for the best entry. And you can use pullbacks into support to buy, or you can use Fibonacci levels to buy on a shorter time frame. It's really up to you. I don't trade it that much. But back over to the dollar CAD. Before I look at dollar CAD, I always like to look at crude. So crude has really unfolded here. Even the last hour, crude has dropped down to 47.07. Definitely under pressure. We have an imperfect but descending trend line here on crude. We talked this last week or two, and probably the last several months, about how low crude can go, knowing that it's actually a commodity and a product. The price of producing crude, what is it, $20, $25 a barrel, maybe 27, whatever it might be. So the odds of crude continuing to free fall, as it gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper, it gets more and more and more likely that it will rise, in the near future, more so than a regular currency cross might, because it's actually a physical product. The thing that I wanted to bring to your attention before we flip away from crude and back to the dollar CAD is this area that we're right in right now. Very tight area on the daily time frame of resistance. You can see we had a touchdown here on March 14th, another one on March 22nd, another on March 27th. We broke through but got rejected on June 2nd, on June 5th, and now today we're sitting right there. So if we zoom into a 4-hour, you can see the bottom of the gray box is right around 46.93 or so, but the lowest support area is 46.72. So crude, in my opinion, could consolidate just a little bit before breaking down. If it does break down, that's going to really get a lot of pressure under the Canadian dollar. So we'd be looking to possibly get long on the Euro CAD, which looks something like this on the hourly, or on the dollar CAD, which looks like this. So dollar CAD on the daily, let's zoom out to the weekly first. Don't forget about this longer term upward trend line here on the weekly for the dollar CAD. I know this isn't exact, but you get the idea. I mean, we're in a pretty strong uptrend on the weekly, and this weekly trend line has held. It started all the way back in April of last year, which is the swing low, and this trend line has really been a driving force technically for the price of the dollar Canadian. We are coming back down to this area. Now again, this line could be drawn a bunch of different ways. It's not exact, but we have a little ways to go, 70, 80 pips on the daily. And if oil continues to fall or breaks down, we could see another push up in the dollar CAD. So my bias right now on the dollar CAD is to the upside, but not yet. This would be a pair that I would be more motivated to put a pending order on, maybe a pending order long at this support level, which as the 4-hour time frame moves forward, this area of support will come closer and closer to this trend line, again, which is not perfect, but you might want to have a pending order to buy around 133.88, 133.90, but that's a ways away. Dollar CAD, if you watched any of the videos that I recorded with Andrew, we did those, I think, 10 days of videos back in October, November last year. Dollar CAD has always been sort of my nemesis. Over the years, back in my old days of having my FX book accounts and bringing all my statements to my CPA and tax preparer after all the trades, pages and pages of trades every year, and studying the numbers, dollar CAD has been the one that, I have really good streaks and really bad streaks, and I don't trade it a lot. But we have about 70, 80 pips to go until I'd be looking to buy this possibly. And if you look left, we also have some potential area of support here. So right around in this area. Now, if you're looking at just straight levels, I think you have to put a range in here. So maybe looking to get long somewhere in this area. Depending on oil, got to keep an eye on the price of oil. 33.80, 33.90 up to 34.20, somewhere in this area, which stops beneath this trend line. Your stops would have to be underneath this trend line. And just on my chart, again, I know I said it a bunch of times, not perfect. 33.30s, 33.40, somewhere of a stop. And then looking to have it rise to the upside. So that's my estimation for dollar CAD. That we'll see a pull down, and then we'll see a pump up like this. It's going to obviously be jagged along the ways, but that's what I think will happen in the dollar CAD. How are our trades looking here, folks? Euro yen's doing good. Came right back to 124. Dollar yen's doing great. Up about 30. Euro pound sitting at break even. Pound's up about 14 pips. So not bad. For a little Asian session action, just keep an eye on those pound trades. I mean, I think there's no secret here. Pound is going to become, along with the euro, we got the ECB on Thursday, going to become volatile. It's going to be whips and fake outs and all sorts of things that can be scary to a Forex trader looking to capitalize on the markets. Sorry about not looking at the chat. Let's see. USD CAD, we talked about that. Yeah, let's take a look. Erebus, I like how you're posting which one's weak, which one's strong. That's really nice. I'm going to pull up Andrew's. I know a lot of you have different strength meters and currency meters that you like to use, but this is the Forex signals one that Andrew had programmed. We see the dollar is weak all the way across the board, along with the CAD, which is another reason, the point of this meter is to be able to see at a glance. And we see the yen is the strongest. I have it set to the 1 hour. You can see the yen way up here. I understand because I've watched Andrew analyze this a lot of times. It's not that easy to see these lines on YouTube because it gets a little pixelated, but I think you can see the yen is the one that's poking up the highest. So that would pull the yen base pairs downwards. Euro yen, pound yen, Aussie yen, dollar yen. The weakest currency is the New Zealand. The yen is the strongest. Sorry if I said that backwards. Yen's the strongest. New Zealand's the weakest. But we also see a tipping down on the dollar. We see a decline on the Aussie. And what you want to do is pose the weakest against the strongest. So New Zealand yen, dollar yen short. Putting the two weak currencies like the dollar and the CAD together really doesn't give you as much bang for your buck. So when I do my top-down analysis, looking at monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour, and downwards on a trade, I try to find the ones I like the most, just like the euro versus the pound or the euro versus the Aussie. I try to see which one's looking the strongest and the weakest. I've only been using this momentum meter off and on here for the last few months since Andrew brought it forward for us here at Forex Signals, but it is helpful just to take a glance, and you can change the time frame. And if you're new to this, this is the deviation from the 20 moving average that the currency has. So the yen is currently pulling further away from its 20 moving average. And we see, if you can see the euro here, it's right about on its 20 moving average. Whatever time frame you set these lines to, it won't affect how the actual indicator boxes look over here because they have all the time frames already. And then Andrew put some commentary in there as well. So right now we have a weak dollar, weak Canadian dollar, weak New Zealand, weakening Aussie, strong yen. And you can see they're flickering as we go because we're just tipping over to 8:30 Central Time. And the 5 and the 15 minute are going to be switching around as the time switches on the charts. We have the current account news. And again, if you're watching the stream too, we have about a 10-second, maybe 15-second delay always. So if you ever put a chat question in or there's a news release, just remember the streamer is about 10 seconds off. Australian current account came out negative at minus 3.1 billion. Let me toggle over to that. So the Australian dollar current account came out worse than expected. But if you look back, even though it's worse than expected, this was the highest expectation that they've had for, as far back as the chart goes, 17 years. So you have to be able to look at these numbers and say, okay, this is bad news, but this is the best it's been since 2001, I think. So there's a lot to trading Forex. It takes a lot of practice. I have good days and bad days just like everybody else, good weeks and bad weeks. But we have the RBA, big news out of Aussie. I see the Euro Aussie is picking up a little bit here, that area. Tomorrow, Australian GDP coming out, 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Wednesday, crude oil inventories. Crude oil inventories don't seem to do a lot to the price of oil, in my opinion, at least lately. The Australian trade balance, Chinese trade balance coming out Wednesday evening here, Central Time. But then the big news of the week, parliamentary elections out of Great Britain, the Euro interest rate, and the ECB press conference. And you throw in a little dash of U.S. unemployment claims as well. Get the Bank of Canada going here. It's going to be a big news day on Thursday. So be very safe if you're trading. If you want to become a consistent, long-term, profitable trader, the best thing that you can do, and you won't get much kickback from this, is when there's big news events, you get out. And you can gamble and get lucky. You could make the big trade of the year, but you want to conserve capital. That's the goal. So I always keep an eye on Trump's Twitter feed. He just had a new tweet here about 13 minutes ago. He said, "That's right, we need a travel ban for certain dangerous countries, not some politically correct term that won't help us protect our people." So I always keep an eye on that because we all know that he has the power to move the markets. My old Yahoo Finance, we showed that stock markets rolled down just a little bit today. I like to watch Financial Juice. If you're new to these streams, I like to keep an eye on the feed. A lot of traders will watch Twitter. Twitter is very, very, very fast. You can do a live squawk. You can pay for services. Financial Juice currently is a good free one, and you can add groups in here like FX Street, Reuters. What else do I have in here? Forex Live, Daily FX, and it just sort of posts some of the news here. So, of course, this news, not good for Australia, but remember, that's better than it's been for a long time. We're seeing that spike up in the Euro Aussie. We turn it down to the 5-minute, you can see what happened here. Let me go back to my charts. This is the Euro Aussie. So that's a pretty big move. We'll go down to the 1 minute. Sort of fun to watch how the market reacts and how it retraces, but trading right on the back of news releases is dangerous. You get a lot of spread widening, a lot of slippage. Fills don't get filled properly, depending on your broker. So Euro Aussie, I'm staying away from right now. And again, this is moving based on Aussie weakness because we see the Aussie dollar coming under a lot of pressure since that news came out, currently down about 28 points. But I'm going to hold the ship steady here. I'm going to keep my short on Euro Pound. I think that's going to be the slowest trade that I have. I'm going to keep the long on the Pound Dollar. We'll keep an eye on our dollar index. I'm hoping that the dollar index continues to unravel. We're sitting at 96.63 right now. It's a little hard to see because I have to shrink my chart down a little bit, but the plan that I had made up last week was that if we get below 96.70s, right where we are now, and we stick there, that the move down, again, this is going back a week or two, that the move down to 95.87 or so, down to this black line, should be pretty straightforward. And that's where we are. So that would help out the pound long. That will help out the dollar yen short that we have going on. I foresee the dollar index to move down and then have a little bit of a pullback, possibly up into this area, and then push down again, make a nice strong push down. So that's what I'm perceiving with the DXY. So if this is the case, then you'd be looking to buy the euro dollar, buy the pound dollar, possibly buy the Aussie dollar at this cheaper price coming up soon. But again, we're right on the back of some news. I wouldn't be jumping in right now. Let that news settle out. Another thing to think about too, just the psychology of trading. If you're newer to the markets, remember that it's a 24-hour market, right? Except for the weekends. And when news comes out like this news that's bad for the Australian dollar, we have to give it a little bit of time to come around the world. I mean, the traders that are in London haven't traded this news yet. You know, the US markets aren't open to see any of this news. So usually when you see a news event like the big stuff, like non-farm payroll, European interest rates on the euro, that kind of stuff, it'll take a little time to sort of shift through the markets, and you can usually get in the direction you want to be on some pullbacks and then hit it again a few times as the markets around the world catch wind of that news. Taking a look at the chat here. Think pound yen is going to drop much lower. Well, I think the yen pairs are going to fall, but the pound, I'm a little bit biased to be stronger. You got it, Juan Pablo. Thanks, Two-Part. Nice to see you. Let's see what else we have here. Just scrolling through the chat here. I like all that interaction. That's nice. Kick lighter. I think that's one of the people that does videos for FX Street. Is that the real Jason? That's funny. Let's see. The euro yen reaching back to 125 LMG. I don't think so. I could be wrong. I don't think so though. DXY is close to the Trump candle. Yeah, that's right. Let me pull that up here. And the Trump candle, that's the area at 95.87 or so. The Trump candle is right down here behind my head, right in this area. This big Trump candle is the thing that we're referring to on the dollar index when the elections took place on November 9th last year. And the support level is all the way down on the bottom here. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the DXY to stay under pressure. I'm looking to sell the US dollar in any form that I can, which is selling the dollar yen, buying the pound dollar. Another reason why I haven't tried to sell gold or silver at these tops, because I think the dollar is going to continue to weaken and it just wouldn't make sense with my overall trade plan. So I hope that listening to me talk, again, I'm not a billionaire trader, but I've been doing this for a long time. I hope that just listening to me talk helps give you a better idea, at least how I think about things. And you can take the information that I share with you and distill it down into some of your own things. Maybe you pick up just one point. Maybe you see something that you're doing that I also do that makes you feel better. Like, okay, this makes sense. I'm not saying I have all the right answers, but it's nice to be on the same page and know where people are at. So one of the reasons I did not want to sell silver or gold, even though we're coming up at the tops here, is because I want the USD to be weaker. That's part of my overall bias. So I try to get a longer term fundamental bias and hope that it plays nicely with the technical setups on the chart. Bring stability. Jason, that's a darn good point. Got it. You got it, Midas G. Ivan Trader says, Jason, do you use a U.S. broker? I do not. I have not used a U.S. broker for a long time. I've jumped around at a bunch of different brokers. Currently, LMFX is the broker of choice. I know the owner pretty well. Been friends with them on Facebook for over 5 years now, probably closer to 6. I probably talk with him on Skype once a week and actually talk with him and then chat on Facebook Instant Messenger on Skype a couple times a week. He's a cool guy. Nice guy. I've tried all the brokers, not all, but a lot, not all, of course, but a lot of the bigger brokers. Used to trade with FX Pro back in the day. Hot Forex, used to manage money with them back before the laws changed in the US. Hot Forex was probably, and FX Pro are probably my two biggest back then. Used to use XNES, used to use Tadawul, Forex Yard. You might remember some of these names if you're been around for a while. Used to trade with Interbank FX here in the US until all those rules changed. But I've never used Gain Capital, never used, Forex.com, never used FXCM. Take that back. I did have FXCM UK for a short time. FX Choice a little. Pax Forex. LMFX. Trader's Way. Trader's Way and FX Choice are popular with U.S. residents, but they don't have the best support. I don't think there's any real problem. They're just very slow to respond and to get things done, in my opinion anyway. I like Pax Forex, I like LMFX. And of course, you don't have to be a U.S. resident to use those. Anybody can, but they're one of the few that are still open. Cool. I just need your... Yeah. The microcomponent, which is Talonic, basically happens far. Nice, Ivan. Yeah, Talonix had that big legal thing. I don't know if you saw that post. They went after the introducing brokers and Talonix because they were falsely saying they were regulated, I believe. It was a big news post that was shared around last week. Nice, Big Divvy, IBFX. Jason, want to see gold break 1295 April high, Jenny? 1295. I think gold could do it. As long as the dollar stays under pressure, of course. 1295, sitting right up here at the tip top. And again, if you're new to trading, there's one or two things that are going to happen. We're going to get up to 1295 and the thing's going to collapse for $5-10, or we're just going to impulsively break through. And the reason that happens is pretty straightforward. People have, let me turn this light down a little bit. People have stops that hit, and also there's pending orders above for people who are looking for trend continuation plays. So you're going to see a lot of volatility right around 1295. My gut feeling is that we're going to get there, and we're going to see an impulsive move up at least $3, $4, $5, $6 right after, and that'd be a good time, in my opinion, to take profits if you're long. More to come on that. We're a ways away from that, though. IRA helps general thought process. You got it. Cool. All right, guys. I've been on for about 45 minutes here, and feeling a little better, though. I had this migraine for almost a whole day since yesterday. Rambling on about the Forex. Making money with you all does help make me feel a little better, so I appreciate it. Have a great rest of the trading day. Be safe and be wary of that news coming up. You're going to see a lot of volatility. Make sure you trade what you see, and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Thanks.